Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again in this YouTube astrological segment. I'm going to be talking about the transit sun making a square opposition or inconjunct aspect to one's natal south node. Now, when we're talking about, transits that involve the sun, it can be about attention, what we want, our focus, our actions, our life, where we want to shine in, and those things, given that when you have this transit of the sun, basically making an adverse aspect to the natal south node, it's can manifest in that attention, what we want. We want to focus on our actions, our life, where we want to shine and may conflict. It could be with somebody from the past. If you're somebody that actually believes in past lives, it can be associated with that, a person that might have been from your past life. It might be some tendencies. Maybe you carried over from the past life. If it's in, the South Node is in Virgo, it could be some, hypochondriac tendencies or being overly pessimistic, being negative toward others, and it might be being carried over from that past life. It could be someone again from your past. What you want to focus on. It might be a distraction that could be caused from that person from the past. Say if it's in the South Node is in Taurus, for example, it could be a Taurus Sun, Moon, or Ascendant person, or simply one that embodies Taurian characteristics. It could be maybe somebody that may be in a Taurus profession. It could be like a stockbroker, someone in finance, banking, a pawnbroker, somebody that works in construction or even architecture or art. The South Node is also about what we're going away from and leaving behind. So when you have the sun making the transit sun making an adverse aspect to this, some cases it could be biological father, it could be a child, it may even be an authority figure, may cause some problems with you trying to get away from a certain situation. It could be a home life. Say if the South Node is in the zodiac sign Cancer of the fourth house. There may be some situations too. The South Node is also connected with what can affect us. It can affect the energy that it's aspecting when it's an adverse aspect. It can be to its detriment. So it's like if you have the transit sun making an adverse aspect to your natal south node, well, what could happen is it can be, for example, it might cause more difficulty. With the sun is with drive and motivation, it might cause more difficulty in having that drive and motivation at this time to get up and go. And it may be to take care of something related to the south node. It might be some negative characteristics that are associated with it. It could be something that you're trying to go away from. It might be say if the south node is in Gemini, it might be trying to get away from just maybe dissipating oneself, from having a lack of an integrating purpose, spreading oneself too thin. It may be being overly mercurial and vacillating. Now, another thing is that the South Node on a positive end, though, is what we can really be naturally proficient. It could be very strong built-in talents and abilities. I have my natal South Node in Virgo, and maybe that plays a role. I would think it does actually play a role in being analytical and being very punctilious with details. But it can be something where the sun, when the transit sun makes an adverse aspect to the natal south node, it could manifest then in where maybe your life, or it could be something you might have to put your focus, your attention on, what you have to concentrate on, may conflict with doing things that you feel you're naturally proficient in. Now, the south node is also again what we're going away from, so it might not be that bad. But at the same time, that's how I would say it could manifest and pan out. Now, the South Node is also can be connected with redundant and overdeveloped qualities. Again, going back to the South Node being, in Virgo as an example, what sometimes it can indicate maybe like the germophobic tendencies. I don't know if that word actually applies anymore to people that are very, you know, that are about sterilizing and taking health precautions to an extreme, or hypochondriac tendencies. It could be like, this doesn't apply to me. It could be the person though that's going into a house, or asking their friends and family when they come into their house to spray their shoes with bug spray so they don't get any bugs on the rug. Um, but what it can be is that the sun, your life, it can be something where you might not have the drive and motivation to work on really the redundant qualities that can be, associated with the South Node at this time, where there may be some issues with the biological father, with a child, with somebody, a person in authority, maybe taking issue with those qualities that you may be exhibiting at this time. And the thing about this too is, another way that this could manifest and pan out. This could also be in some cases where a child biological father may conflict, again, so I was stating where the negative things maybe that you previously actually have done, because remember the South Node is connected with the past. So say if this natal South Node falls in Taurus in the 8th house as an example, it can be some monetary crime. I mean, Taurus is monetary, the crime. Um, the 8th house is the house of crime, and for example, it could be Taurus related, such as something like blackmail, extortion, embezzlement. Um, it can also be a time too where it might manifest in a physical issue, which is associated with the sun, may present a challenge in doing things that you're naturally proficient in, which um, is the South Node. Now, let's say, for example, that somebody has a transit Sun in Taurus, very early Taurus, and making an inconjunct aspect to the South Node in a late degree Virgo position. Maybe there could be issues with the vocal cords, which is Taurus, which might present difficulty in maybe doing some analysis, which is Virgo. And then in sports, the 5th house. Um, if the South Node does fall in Virgo in the 5th house, as an example. Now, another thing too about this transit, it might be expressed in the situation with an authority figure. It may be more challenging. It could be due to the negative qualities of the South Node placement. Now, let's say if the South Node, natal South Node, is in Aquarius, it could be maybe some overly rebellious or unorthodox behavior. I'm not saying you're going to be climbing the walls, like Spider-Man, and have suction cups on the hands or anything like that, but it could be due to some non-conforming energy. Excuse me. Could also be, now another thing too is that, also remember, the sun is connected with our vitality and energy. And the thing about it is, when you have a challenging aspect with the sun and the South Node, well, that energy and vitality, which is connected with the sun, may be diminished, and might be having to deal with someone from the past. And maybe this person might be having a taxing effect on you in terms of your energy, or maybe you're lacking the drive and motivation to deal with issues of this person from the past. Now, let's say, for example, the South Node is in Capricorn, your natal chart. It may be a Capricorn Sun, Moon, or Ascendant person, or simply one that embodies Capricorn characteristics. It could be a person that might be very responsible, consistent, but yet may be very negative and pessimistic. It could be a person that's very businesslike and serious and orthodox in their manner. And keep in mind too that, this transit does not going to last very long, because if you're using a 3-degree applying aspect from the sun and a 2-degree separating aspect, you're looking at about approximately 5 days on average it's going to last. Hold on a moment, people. Sorry about that, I'm back. But anyway, and keep in mind too though, but even though it doesn't last very long, you're going to have it the aspect 5 times, because an aspect like this 5 times, because you're going to have 2 squares that are made by the sun, transit sun to the south node per year. You're going to have first the one opposition. You'll have, and you'll also have, you're going to have 2 inconjuncts aspects to it. So you're going to have 5 of those aspects during the year. So I mean, you're looking at about 25 days total of these aspects, because we're talking about um, 5 to a 3 degree applying aspect, 2 degree separation, and that's 5. Sun traverse is about 1 degree per day. So you could do the math. Each aspect lasts about 5 days approximately. So anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment. Until next time, people, Edwin Learnard saying stay well.